Hi, welcome to our second episode as I, Scott Ryan, and Barbara extraordinaire Matt Howe go through all of Barbara's albums because we have this book coming out called Barbra Streisand the Music. You're going to pre-order it. You're going to probably get two copies because one, you're just going to be looking through all the time. How are you doing today, Matt?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm ready to talk Barbara.
Yeah, so last week we went through her first five albums. Today we're going to go through her second five albums. We're kind of in the mid 60s at this point. How popular was Barbara uh, at this point?
Well, she was at the top of the charts. She was up there with Peter, Paul, and Mary. The Beatles. Well, at this point in 1965, the Beatles had arrived and were charting. So, the music business was changing, but she was still popular covering um, the American Songbook and theater songs, which was still very popular with, America.
And here we are in 2022 and still very popular with me.
There we go.
Why don't we still have this? So we're our first album up is My Name is Barbara. Look at that
I
cute
love that you have the
cover.
LPs. That's fantastic.
Oh, well, of course. I mean, please. And before we are not going to rest until Columbia Records. Here's our pleas to get all of these out on vinyl. I mean, we want a box set.
Well, you're talking about the 90s and stuff that weren't. My
Yeah,
cat is in the
I
background.
know. Well, the
Sorry.
cat wants to be on, and the cat's cuddling up to Barbara, so I don't blame the cat
Right.
at all.
Yes.
The cat's name, of course, is Fanny Bryce, which is really cute.
That's not true.
So our first album is My Name is Barbara. What is your pick
Yep.
from My Name is Barbara?
So I'm going to go with a deep cut, and not choose something that is obvious. I'm going to go with Jenny Rebecca. I met the songwriter, Carol Hall, in 2009. I went to the Yale School for Cabaret, the International Cabaret. I did like a summer where we studied the art of cabaret, and Tova Feldshuh was there, who's now on Broadway playing Fanny Brice's mother. And Carol Hall was one of our teachers too. And I met her, and I tried not to fanboy her too much, but I knew that she wrote Jenny Rebecca. And Jenny Rebecca on this album, I just think is such a sweet song. And the way it's arranged and the way it fits into the theme of the album, despite the fact that it wasn't even included. As I discussed in the book, um, this album was not intended to be a straight um, album of the TV show. That Barbara added only half of the songs are even in the TV show, and including Jenny Rebecca, which is not even in the show. So, yeah, I like Jenny Rebecca. It's a pretty song
Well,
to me.
you know what's interesting is my wife's name is Jennifer, and her mom calls her Jenny, and her
Oh,
mom's favorite Barbara song is Jenny Rebecca, and she had
okay.
My Name is Barbara. So I'm like, you're named after a Barbara song. Like I haven't got the paperwork on that, but it's gotta be. If your favorite song is that and you name your daughter Jenny,
Right,
come on.
right,
So
right.
I picked I've Got No Strings.
Oh,
And
that
and
crazy 60s arrangement.
it is so much fun and it's fun, Barbara. And I can't believe that the marvelous Mrs. Maisel hasn't used I've Got No Strings yet, especially since she is, split from her husband now. And they've used Barbara in the past, and I know Amy
Oh,
Sherman is a big fan of Barbara's. I really want to see on this final season. I want to hear I've
you
Got No
should be
Strings.
the music publisher on that show. That's a great idea.
Well, I wrote, my publishing company that's publishing your book, Fayetteville Mafia Press, we have a book called The Women of Amy Sherman Palladino, and I wrote the intro to
Really?
that book. And the whole the whole thing is about Barbara. Because
Wow.
my thing, not the whole book. The book is about her female characters, but I talk
Sure.
about how she has used Barbara in all of her shows, and I connect at how she has used them.
Do
Um,
you know the last I checked that what's her name?
Amy Sherman Palladino.
Do you know that she has the rights for Gypsy now?
Hmm, interesting. I'm not
Yeah, and
surprised.
you remember the last season of Mrs. Maisel, uh, the uh, the uh, the sort of Ziegfeld, what are they
Sure.
called?
Yeah, you're thinking of the big like swim number when they did the
So she's
yeah.
obviously entrenched and engaged in the world of Gypsy, and I think it's so ironic that it was Barbara's project for so long, and that now she has the rights.
Yeah, and she uses Barbara in the past, so I want to see that on there. So
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah,
next album is My Name is Barbara 2, which has
yeah.
definitely more from the television series than the first one.
Right,
And a
right.
great hat. I mean, I think I could pull off this hat. Um,
I
what
love that.
what do you have for your song off this one?
I mean, I'm going to be obvious and say he touched me because
Um,
in the book I mentioned that it should be her signature song. He touched me, but the fact is that she never really sang it, except for in concert in the '60s um, and '94. '94, it elicited a standing ovation most of the time she sang it, but that's the last time she sang it, and I love it so much. Um, she really soars on "He Touched Me." I love it so much.
The reason I didn't pick it is because the 94 version is so good. And I
Yeah,
always tell singers, you got to look at how she says in 94, nothing, nothing, nothing. Every nothing is completely different. You can
right.
get a musical lesson in 5 seconds of that song, and each nothing is completely different. And I always say, when a author uses the same words 3 times in a row, you better say them 3 different ways. Mine is kind of a strange pick, but it's Where's That Rainbow. um
I love that song. Yeah,
so that song has really risen for me in the last like 5 years. It wasn't one that, I used to gravitate to, but there's something about it. Again, the arrangement, her acting. When I looked at this song list, that's the song I'm listening to the most right now from that album. I just think it's really beautiful.
but here's a little bit of a if you listen closely, note. She steps away from the mic at some point during the end of the song, and just listen closely. You can hear it. It's like it's almost like as if they should have chosen a different take, but that
Hmm.
was probably the best they had. Just listen closely. She steps away
Okay.
from the mic, and it's like, what's happening here? Where did her voice go?
Well,
But
good. I mean,
it's subtle.
thank you for ruining that song for me. Now we have Color Me Barbara, which my vinyl I keep the
Oh, you've
special
got the
insert.
insert.
Yeah,
We
so
have
I
the
keep
insert
mine
on the
up
album
front
on the
on that.
book. The book includes the insert.
Yes, because the book is full color, and we try to get all those things in for you. So this is it's hard to pick. I shouldn't like throw out favorites, but this is certainly in my top of all of the 60s. My pick for this album is Starting Here, Starting Now. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. She just crushes that song, and that song has got to be listened to all the way at 10. You got to blast that thing. I love Starting Here, Starting Now.
starting here, starting now is all about the vowels. When I was a theater student in the early '90s, one of my professors, who I think was gay, pointed out that it's all about her vowels, starting now, starting here, starting now. I mean, like the vowels are
Right.
just so crazy. And the vowels have, two syllables and they're so open and so crazy good. I agree. I like starting here, starting now, but I'm going to go with Gotta Move. My second time choosing Gotta Move as my favorite. This arrangement on the 1966 Color Me Barbara of Gotta Move is crazy good. And they even used it in To Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, as the drag queens drive out of town. I mean, it is just the best arrangement. Oh my God. And it's
Yeah, I
Peter
like this
Max.
one
Peter
better.
Max.
I
Yeah.
like this Gotta Move better.
Yeah.
We gotta move. So now we have the French album, Je m'appelle Barbara, which I have a feeling a lot of fans may not have this album, and you're making a mistake. Her
Mm,
vocals on this album are great. And there's
yeah.
really not that much French on it. To be honest,
No.
there's more
You
English than there
know,
should be.
the French is actually unreleased. I mean, I detail that on the in the book. Most of the French songs, and who knows why? I mean, maybe her French wasn't perfect, or maybe they just decided to go with English. But
Can I
most
get
of the
this
songs
one?
are English. Oh yeah,
A lot of the
en
French are on
français,
this one. Can I get this one on here? Yeah, so
en
this one has a
français.
lot more French, but mine is I Wish You Love. I just it I love the feeling of this. She's got a tude while she's singing. I Wish You Love is my fave on this one.
I love that song. I love that she didn't like, for instance, Judy Garland or similar singers always cover it as, like I wish you well, goodbye. But like Barbara's version is like, I'm going to kill you in
I
a
know.
leafy glade.
And
I
that's why I
love
love
it.
it. Me too. It's my favorite on there.
I do love it, but I'm gonna go with and please forgive me if I get this wrong, but it's whatever song that has no finiront jamais, which I think is Once Upon a Summertime. Um, just
Mhm.
beautiful, just beautiful, just beautiful. Once Upon a Summertime. When she goes into the French, it just it's just so beautiful for me.
I
Yeah.
couldn't agree more. It's a great album and one that was, please get it. If you don't have it, get it. Now we go to my favorite album of the 60s, which is Simply Streisand.
Oh, your favorite album of the 60s, really?
Yes, a solo, not counting Funny Girl. How am I doing
Okay.
on this? I'm trying to, there we go. This album I love, and I think Marty, right? Isn't this Marty's favorite album?
I
I,
don't know that. Is
I,
it?
I
I don't
think
know.
I feel like I've read that somewhere. Maybe in your book. I don't
Okay.
know. But I feel like Marty loves this album.
Marty Ehrlichman, her manager of
Yes.
many years.
What's your pick off Simply Streisand?
Well, it's hard to ignore the crazy good arrangement of Lover Man, but I'm going to go with When Sunny Gets Blue, which has always been a favorite song of mine. I do love the lyric. I love the arrangement. Um, Fans would be interested to know that they tried to integrate it into the Timeless concerts, but didn't. I would have loved to have heard her sing When Sunny Gets Blue in 2000, 1999, whatever it was. But I like When Sunny Gets Blue.
Well, here we go. I said it was going to be 10%, and we've done 10 albums, and mine is When Sunny Gets Blue. I'm so sad that we're
Oh,
picking the same song because we usually don't agree on any Barbara songs. This song is
okay.
spectacular. Her version is great. There's a lyric change at the end. I'm a big Johnny Mathis fan, and I do love Johnny's version of When Sunny Gets Blue, but Barbara, again, acts it to a degree that other people don't. And when I read in your book that she was supposed to sing this in Timeless, that broke my heart. I wanted her to do that so badly.
Wouldn't that be
But
amazing to hear?
it'll
Yeah.
it, she'll just do it in Timeless too. That's all. Um, So this is sort of, we're giving you an example here of what the book is. Like we said, we love your pre-orders. They're making a difference. We are not like some huge corporation. We are grassroots. We love Barbara, and it bothered both Matt and I that there was not a book like this. No gossip, no dirt, all music. If you love Barbra, you will love this book. Please go out to tuckerdspress.com and pre-order, and we'll be back next week when we take on her next 5 albums.